Good morning, parents. So we're back again this week with a new Black Belt Parenting blog. We're going to now jump into the stages of development for children. We're going to go over today the 3 and 4-year-old physical stage of development that you should see with the 3 and 4-year-old. And then the next blog we'll do 5 and 6. We'll go through all the ages of their physical stage of development. And then we will jump to the next subject as intellectual stages of development. So let's dive into 3 and 4-year-olds. So 3 and 4-year-olds, have a lot of energy. They're actually excited to learn, but understanding their physical development, they have very low muscle tone. Okay, they haven't begun to develop their arm, their leg, or their core strength yet. That's still very underdeveloped for this age, which is should be expected. They just got out of the baby stage into the toddler. Now they're moved into the second year of toddler stage, 2 years, 3T and 4T. So they're still developing that core strength and their arms and their leg strength. So what can we expect? We're going to talk a little bit about what we expect in martial arts, and let's translate that to also what we expect in other areas of their life. So one, we expect them when they're doing a punch, their arms to drop. They're not going to keep them up. Their hands are going to go down. When they're in their fighting position, their hands, we say cheeks, they're going to be naturally dropping their hands up and down. Why? One, their arms are getting tired. Okay, so keeping them up at a longer time is harder for them. So when they're punching, when they're blocking, they're not going to keep those positions longer. They're going to be dropping their hands, putting them back down to their side. They're not going to be keeping their positions as much. Next, when they're trying to do kicks, run, or jump, it's very common that they're going to fall down. They don't have the core inner strength, so their balance isn't there yet. Their body, their weight is going forward when they run, and then they stop, and they can't control that shift of weight, and so they're going to fall down. Of course, they also do it because it's fun for them, so they kind of make a game of it. But that is typical. We should expect them to fall when they're running, expect them to fall when they're jumping, expect them to fall when they're kicking, when they're shifting that weight to one leg like that, trying to hold that foot up and kick. And that's why they can't get their kicks very high in 3 and 4-year-olds, because they haven't developed the core strength and leg strength to be able to do so. Okay? Wiggling. 3 and 4-year-olds wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay? That is to be expected when they're sitting there because of their core strength. You think, no, they're just being silly. They just can't sit still. But yes and no. Part of it is their core strength. They're getting tired sitting there. Being in a still position for them, physically, it is tiresome. Okay? So they move. So they constantly have to move. They're moving their body. But that's also them developing strength also by moving and working on their balance. So they're going to lose control of their body when they're sitting still, or like when we get them to a standing attention stance, hands on pants. They're not going to be able to do that for long periods of time at first. And then, of course, when they're moving multiple directions, running, stopping, turning, shifting here, moving there, they're going to take an extra step. They're going to stumble. They're going to wiggle. They're going to do all of that. And so that's what's expected. Now, what are our goals with this age group? Well, punching and blocking. We want them to be able to punch, keep their hand out there for longer. Okay? Blocking, keeping their hand out there in the position longer. Keeping their hands up in their fighting stance instead of constantly up and down dropping. Keeping those hands up. Developing that upper strength. Okay? Shoulders, arms. Being able to not fall, being able to control their body when they're kicking, hopping, and running, to be able to stay in balance, and without falling down. Okay, keeping their body up. And then, of course, being able to demonstrate control of their body when they're doing crawling, when they're standing still, when they're sitting around, being able to maintain control of their body physically. And so these are important skills for this age group. And it's a very important first development. So as you notice here, we didn't talk about technical development. Because, you know, the general 3 and 4-year-old is not ready for technical development because they haven't developed their core fundamental coordination, their core fundamental strength, all of that. So we're working on their motor skills right now in physical development for 3 and 4-year-olds. We're just using martial arts to do it. So for example, you know, they're playing a game of soccer. Well, what's to be expected there? Well, it's expected since they have less control of their body, they run towards the ball and they either run over the ball, they trip over the ball, they run past the ball, or they're playing soccer and they run into other players. That's what's to be expected. So the goal is, in a 3 and 4-year-old, is get them to learn to control, be able to stop at the ball, be able to stop, not running over people, things like that. So, same thing, you know, at home, they're playing games, they're playing tags, okay? They're going to tag too hard, okay? They're going to push, they're going to shove. All of this is part of this physical stage of development. Why? Because they don't have control of their body yet. They're learning. That's a developmental skill. So I hope this helps you understand as their development in our program in martial arts, but also their development as you see, watch them playing sports. Watch them just interacting and doing things. It's not that they're being bad, wiggling around all the time. It does have an underlying reason behind it. It is their stage of physical development. Okay? And our goal is to help them get from this stage of development up to the next stage. Our goals, like I said, is keeping their arms up, keeping their hands up, being able to stand at attention, developing their overall physical strength. I hope this helps, and I look forward to next week to our next talk about 5 and 6-year-old physical stage of development. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you later.